Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to my live. So, today I want to discuss the 13 tribes of, specifically talking about the Ashkenazi Jews and the theoretical Khazar Empire and its heritage by Arthur Koestler. Now, this book is, by its essence, a waste of space. Let me be quite clear and honest about this. The book's entire interpretation and much of its documentation is, by and large, complete and utter waste of space. The sources refer towards ancient sources involving Arabs, Byzantines, Russians, and Hebrew sources. Now, being a historian, I've gone through these sources. I've gone through almost all of these sources from top to bottom. The Arab sources were translated by well-known failure to translate translators. So the litigations of the translation. So I'll just read to you the Arabic. The early Arabic history differs from all others in the unique form of this compositions. Each event is related to the words of eyewitnesses or contemporaries transmitted to final narrator through a chain of intermediary reporters. So this is already, so that's suspect. This isn't an eyewitnesses report. This isn't even an eyewitnesses who is a trusted source. This is sources that come to sources that went to other sources that then came to the Arab historians. Now the problem being is that H.A.R. Gibbs and M.J.D. de Gaulle are noted at not being able to maintain their historical reputation, and especially when it comes to their own citations themselves. So the sources this man uses for the Arabians are not first-hand, let's be fair, they're not even second-hand, not even tertiary-handed, and more importantly, he's using translators who have a very poor reputation inside the historical world as it is. And so, I mean, let's just move on towards the Byzantines. Now, the Byzantines, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, working in my life. The Byzantines, involving this specific book, comes down to Constantinopolis the Seventh, or Porphyrius, in 950. Now, the reason I have a disagreement with this documentation is because it literally ties into the Ashkenazi Jews involving the golden seal given to him specifically by the tribal leaders. Now, the important thing to remember about this is that the tribal leaders, and much of what they were doing, was trying to legitimize themselves as part of the 13 tribes. And they gave the Byzantine emperor gold deliberately to give themselves legitimization. This has been proven on multiple facts and assimilations. They themselves wanted to be part of the Semitic tribes. They wanted to be a part of the Semitic tribes. Now, there are a small amount of Jewish rabbis who went over to the Khazars and then themselves had children with Khazars women, teaching Judaism to them, but at no point asked the 13 tribes themselves Ashkenazi. Of what little Ashkenazi blood they have in them comes specifically from the rabbis themselves who went over there to train that. So that's not the whole tribe of the Ashkenazians. It's better to say that the Ashkenazians have blood inside the Khazarian Empire more than the Khazarian Empire are the Ashkenazians. But historically, people don't want to use that. In the modern literal materials, the gentleman then leans into things like Nietzsche. And Nietzsche is a renowned racist, incredibly racist towards the Jewish population, and incredibly racist towards the rest of the human race in general. Much of the 13 tribes and the Khazar response and correspondence itself, its citations are sloppy, its material is very difficult to come by, its expectation is disgusting, and people really need to stop actually using this material. I mean, there are multiple different ways that we can collectively and articulately disagree with elements of the it's not real policies, governments, and that lot, but to tarnish and damage and disregard the good intentions and livelihoods of the Jewish people is un-Islamic. We do not spread falsehood, we do not spread false information. And I think that's a very critical point to hold. We do not parlay in false information or peddle lies. And peddling lies is something we should always avoid. I mean, every Muslim worth their salt wants to be known to be like our Prophet, peace be upon him. Truthful, just, noble. Those are the virtues of our Prophet. So when people peddle stuff like this, they're doing it in either ignorance, which I think the bulk of them are doing, or they're using the material of the Khazarian 13 tribes deliberately to malign the Jewish people. And that benefits no one. Absolutely benefits no one. Anybody want to ask any questions about the book, please be my guest. I literally have it in front of me and its citations. I can pull them up online and prove my point. I am not saying that the Khazarians were not converts to Judaism. They absolutely were. Or that there weren't a very small minority of rabbis over there training them from Jerusalem and from Judea. What I am saying is they are not the Ashkenazi Jews. Not in the slightest. DNA has repeatedly disproven these claims on multiple occasions. And it angers me because the Muslim world is based upon itself upon truth and justice and the nobility of the Quran. And how do we perpetrate that when we're spreading misinformation, especially about our Jewish cousins? The Muslims and Jews are both Semitic tribes, and they must treat each other, well, the original Arabs, specifically Arab Muslims. Not all Muslims are Arabs. Oh, a bit like my Shaitana regime. And here I am catching myself in it now. But the reality that we stand on is information must be transmitted in a just and noble manner. And I personally cannot sit by and allow such material to be used maliciously or mismalignedly. Does anyone want to ask any questions? Knock yourselves out. If I've had nobody make any comments. I hope I'm not boring anybody on the subject. It's only because I've just seen it rear its ugly head on other social media. And since I own the book, and I did an extensive 6 weeks hunting down the material and the citations of it, because I was going to do a piece on it because I'd never seen the book before I bought it last year. How is everyone doing though today? I hope you're all having a lovely day. Everyone's healthy. There's like 3 of you in total. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And chat, lovely to see you, Raccoon, to pop your way in. Yes, why do people... I have no idea, Amane. I really don't. I think that book is such a toxic thing. It necessarily needs to be trashed in every possible way. And every historian worth his salt should tear it down because its citations are so disgusting and such a massive failure. And yourself, Raccoon, and yourself. I mean, there are 1,000 ways I can articulately criticize Israel for many, many different reasons. You don't need to write falsehoods. We have no need for falsehoods in that regard. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Zinas. Welcome, sister. I don't see the rationality, the reasoning, the dogmatical approach of people disregarding history in that natural ability. I think people need to realise that history is so precious that the truth is quite often both illuminating and incredibly terrifying, and it's not always necessarily people's direct fault. And it does bother me when people, disregard history in upon its natural format upon itself. Sorry, I missed that. I was just checking my PC. They text Sharon Abu Akas's funeral. Yeah, no, I did. And a stuff for a laugh for that. I mean, like I said, you don't need reasons. You don't need to have made up reasons to attack the disgusting behaviour of Israel. You don't. They're military police. They're disgusting behaviour towards innocent Palestinians, holding a funeral procession. There's 110 different reasons we can have articulated grievances with Judaism, specifically the Judaism of Zionism, without us directly harming the Jewish diaspora with stuff that has no parley of truth in it. You know what I'm saying? Take apart what is immoral and wrong, and keep what is good. The Jews are still our brothers and sisters, and we should always treat them as such. Well, it's been a long day, to be honest. First 10 minutes on. It's nice to have everyone. Four people in today. Wow. I assume someone's gone back to watch the first 10 minutes. But yeah, the business going on the funeral is just disgusting. And do we have any idea of the justification over the attack on the funeral yet? As the Israelis made one of their fake attempts to try and cover this garbage up, and lie unnecessarily about the attacks. Oh, absolutely. The apartheid occupation. Again, absolutely. And this is why books like that are feeding the fumes and need to be dispensed upon themselves. And a great deal of the Ashkenazi Jews are not even in Israel. This is what people don't realise. Large sections of the Ashkenazi Jews live amongst us. They live amongst Europeans. They live amongst Americans. They live in all other parts, like Australia and New Zealand and other parts of the Western world. So I mean, it's a fundamental reality that, you know, causing and accusing the Ashkenazi of this is just disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I mean, back in my old video, I trashed the 13 tribes on an extenuating level. But I find people unwilling to do a little bit of research as being half the problem. But I don't know what the hell the Israeli police force are doing specifically to why attack a Palestinian a Palestinian funeral procession? They must know that's going to get the world's back up. I mean, do they just think that they're completely immune to the world? At some point, something's going to give. America and her world power is not long for this world. And when that falls, oh, the Shaitani regime, I hate to think what will happen. Currently, that's entirely a plausibility, Raccoon. They currently think that they can, but there's no guarantee to that. There's no guarantee, no assumption of validity of what's being said and what's being done. People need to realise that accountability is coming, and no apartheid state has survived to this day. No apartheid governmental system has survived to this day. The Jim Crow fell apart. The apartheid in South Africa fell apart. When you stop treating human beings all as equals unto the law, even if your law is morally bankrupt like China. Let's take China as a bad example. The Chinese are nasty to everybody, their own people and everyone else. Oh, they're especially nasty to minorities, but Israel shoots journalists just for giggles. They've been known to do it all the time. And as an American journalist, Joe Biden won't say a bloody word, and we know he won't say a word. He was practically propped up by Israeli lobbyists. Not that Donald Trump was any better. The man moved the embassy to bloody Palestine. So I mean, they're both either options were vile, regardless how you look at it. Once we get to this point in time. You roll back to their last elections, either Joe Biden or Donald Trump are bad news for the Ummah, no matter how you look at it. It's just the lesser evil, in my humble opinion, is in fact Donald Trump, because of his level of incompetence. His international incompetence was a boon to the rest of the world. Does that make sense? His lack of ability to actually organise a foreign policy that was due to harm people is upon itself a better benefit. Now, I'm not saying he was a good guy. I said of the two evils, him and Joe Biden, Trump is preferable simply because Trump is incompetent. Joe Biden is very competent at harming our people and harming the British, harming Islamic Ummah in extensive measures. And that's the nature of it is. I need to have that translated. Anybody know what that individual particularly said? Because I do not read exact Arabic. Second journalist this week being killed. Why is this not a surprise to me? Second journalist killed in a week. Ooh, the Bilal Shaitani regime. Just unbelievable levels of disgusting behaviour. But that's what we expect from them, to be honest. That's what we expect. But getting back to my reasons why I'm here, this book is not worth the paper it's written on. Literally toilet paper. I've seen toilet paper used for best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much. I didn't realise what you were saying because I don't read Arabic naturally yet. It's on my to-do list, okay? Bear with me, brothers and sisters. It is on my to-do list to read Arabic naturally. And to be fair, I have to have it a lot clearer than what these little keyboards give. Hence why I require to have a much bigger text when I'm trying to read it. because the subtleties of much of the beauty of Arabic writing makes it very, very difficult to observe and read. But I haven't seen a great deal of the news today. I've been built up in my own studies and my own devices, and haven't really paid a great deal of attention to what's going on, if I'm to be completely honest, which is mildly terrifying when you think about it. Oh, but how's everyone else's day been going so far? How's everyone else at this first? Juma Mubarak to everyone who's already been to the masjid today. I was told that it was actually considered bid'ah to say Juma Mubarak. I don't know. Is that a thing? Am I wrong in that saying? Zarak, salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. So, I mean, Raccoon, is Juma Mubarak actually considered bid'ah? Because I get people saying it to me quite often, and then not saying it to me afterwards. Kind of a bit on the squiffy side, really. I hope everyone's having a lovely day. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Interesting topic. It is. What I've said previously, or what Allah knows best. This is true. I hope everyone's had a lovely Friday then. I think that's the least offensive way of putting it. Assalamu alaikum. Haven't you seen you go live for a long time? House Speaker Corner. I have gone live. I went live last week. I'm intending to go more live on YouTube a lot more. I'm intending to try and pack theoretically an hour a day in, specifically around this time. So my goal, ideally, is to look at the day's events and speak from Islamically, from a historical point of view. Halo Speaker Corner 3. Right. Well, no, I've been on TikTok. I'm still on TikTok. I've rebuilt my account. You can do this. I believe in you, inshallah. That's only because you want to see me on Zaris. That's only because you want to see me on an hour every day. I prefer YouTube. I can be far more honest and open, and I don't need to sugarcoat how I speak. Where TikTok, you do. You know, if I slip up on here, I'm not going to have my account banned. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the nature. That's the beautiful nature specifically of YouTube. I can speak eloquently, honestly, and articulately, and have discussions on here, reading the chat and other things going on, without fear of the police state that is TikTok. TikTok is a police state. You have to toe a certain line, or they all get angry, and then you get mass reported, and you lose your accounts. It's a joke, absolute joke. I've rebuilt so many accounts, I've lost track of them. Let me be absolutely frank about that. So how's everyone's day been going so far? Well, like I said, I started with my original Psycho Lockwards, then I went to Islamic historian, and then from Islamic historian last year you had 2 accounts or more banned. Yeah, a lot more than that. I've lost 6 accounts in the 2 years I've been on TikTok. I lost one Instagram account. Well, no, actually, I had a long ban on my Instagram account. I haven't actually lost my Instagram account because I was posting defamationable material, or more importantly, I was giving views on what was going on involving Israel. Hail Speaker Corner 3. I didn't know that was a sister. Astaghfirullah, sister, I'm sorry. Kept my head down, Zaris. Just. They do have social media, but it's all regulated. The Chinese social media is heavily regulated. They have a version of TikTok, which isn't TikTok itself. My apologies, sister. I had no idea. Astaghfirullah. I'm so sorry. I guess that's my own fault, really. Not really paying attention. I do recognise some people from other social media platforms, but not always the case. Yes, everyone laugh at me. Everyone laugh at... Yeah. Raccoon included. Knock yourself out. You blew my cover. I'm still waiting for that goat food video you made last Ramadan. Oh, astaghfirullah. Damn. I haven't even seen goat video. What was I doing? I worked out sometimes if that counts. You worked out. Oh, I think I know who you are, sister. Alhamdulillah. Correct me if I'm wrong, sister. You live in Lebanon. No, you don't live in Lebanon. You don't live in Lebanon. You come to Speaker's Corner. I'm coming to Speaker's Corner this month. I'm hoping to come either at the end of this month or the week after. Alhamdulillah, but I'm not entirely sure where. You work out. Astaghfirullah, I'm trying to think now. Because one sister I was thinking of who works out excessively, she lives in Lebanon. But if you're talking about Speaker's Corner, you probably yeah, I have every intention to go to Speaker's Corner. If only to go down there for a Saturday, for a Sunday, Saturday. And spend an extensive amount of time. I am waiting for my online shopping to arrive, and it's over an hour late, like horribly. It was supposed to be between here 4 and 5, and it's now 7:20, which is error. I am trying to, Zaz, if I'm to be completely honest. I am genuinely trying to. I get trickle feeds in my normal jobs. It's as mad as ever. Halla speaker. It's mad. It's mad as a marsh hare is in there. You got to have the skin as thick as rhino hide. You really do. Some parts of social media are so unbelievably toxic. But my goals are Muslim Geezer 3. I think he's on now. Alhamdulillah. We speak on and off from time to time. Scotty's lost one account or two, I think it is, and he's just got his main account back again. And I mean, he loses but regains accounts like no one's business. I haven't seen Mo the Palestinian. Which Mo are you talking about? Which Mo are you talking about? Because if you're talking about Mo Pesci, yes, he's still on TikTok. If you're talking about one of the other Mo's, I don't remember. Because we had a large collection of Palestinian Muslims on TikTok, and they've petered away after being hammered repeatedly with multiple bans. No, it does. I've seen it. Yeah, Scotty does. Scotty just bangs on doors. Oh, I got blocked on TikTok ages ago. Yeah, Mo Pesci. No, he's still on TikTok, doing very, very well. I was talking to him maybe about a week and a half ago. I do have my account back on TikTok. It's the Irish Muslim. I've moved my entire signature to the Irish Muslim and just left it there so everyone can find it. Fitzallen. I do, unfortunately, I really do, which I don't greatly endorse. Unfortunately, it's stuff for Allah. Me and Mercy to Mankind were realistically the only people who stood up for that. To be fair, they had every right to. His details were very dark, I'm sorry to say. He was convicted of that material. I don't want to speak about it, but he was directly convicted of that material. And he had court orders and everything, and restraining orders. A lot of it came out of the closets in the end. Oh, my neck, my head. Come on, guys, give me something to talk about. Give me something to talk about. Yeah, it was a mad story. It was. No, I know. It's crazy. The Ukrainian stuff is insane. And Palestine's been suffering for 8 decades. And no one pays the slightest bit of attention these days. Ooh, the Bilal Shitani regime. 7, 8 decades, Palestine has suffered horrifically. and the Palestinian people have suffered horrifically. And you know, it's beyond annoying, and people don't want to actually stand up and actually hold it accountable. They don't want to be accessible to what is being said and done, because they know that they have to then deal with and unpick the horrible problems. And I'm intending to talk about that. Oh, it does. In many ways, it exposes them. Blonde, blue-eyed people fleeing bombs from nasty Russia. That's it. Everyone runs to save them. Guys' names. Pakistan. I generally feel the Americans and the military have pushed them out of power. I think the Americans through the military and the military through their allies in the parliament have pushed Imran Khan out of power, and they did it deliberately, because he was getting really, really close with Russia. Like Russia is being picked on by the West economically, and it makes sense historically speaking for America to do it now, especially with the way that Russia's material and equipment is falling apart, absolutely falling apart. So it makes economical and militarical sense. It makes sense on why America's doing this. But to punish Pakistan for looking after its own people by going off to Russia to make oil is insane, and it's a means of punishing anybody who breaks rank, and that's the intention. And they removed him. They removed him because the CIA, who are very close into the Pakistani military, spoke to the military. The military spoke to their politicians, and the politicians pulled the feet out from underneath him. And that's realistically what happened. And I stand by that opinion simply because it's a disgusting reality that we live in. And I can see the people being angry about it. I can generally see the people being angry about it. Oh, exactly, completely. That doesn't even surprise me, sister. I wouldn't. I don't know these details directly because I'm not into international politics, but I suspect. You know what I'm saying? I literally suspect it. I expect the dirty laundry of behaviour of them. To be fair, I don't see Ukraine joining NATO. I think when the cards, that's posturing. I think when the cards come down and Russia has to do a humiliatingly withdraw, and they're going to, it's not a matter of if, it's when. It's because of all the cardboard body armor and the cheap tires on their tanks, and their equipment just doesn't work. They're not the third greatest army in the world. It's a paper tiger that's falling apart, literally falling apart because of corruption. The army is so rife with corruption. Like the billionaires are absolutely riddled with corruption. Yeah, they're joining NATO because they feel threatened. You can't blame them, Raccoon. They do feel threatened. Russia has a bad tendency of saber rattling and making false flag defensive. Look at what they did to Georgia. Look what they've done when they intervened on behalf of Armenia and Azerbaijan. Do you understand what I'm saying? Russia is not a good player in that regard. I don't know about that. You see, the Russian politicians are a very, very strange breed. They don't necessarily roll over for anybody. And once one of them's got elected, it'd have to be a very, very pro. He'd have to be a very, very pro, openly pro-Western, and then get elected. Because if he wasn't an openly pro-Western and then get elected and then smoothed up to them, there could be other rebellions. But if the Russian military saw him smoozing up to the Americans beforehand and he still got elected, look at the examples, the monument Saudi Kings Week. Yeah, no, that's entirely true. That's again another unbrutal and unapologetic point of view. But to be fair, the Saudis are starting to stick their foot down involving America demanding more oil. They've said no. They're not producing more to stabilise the world economy. And this is why sanctions on Iran are going to start. Yeah, no. We need to build our own houses, structures, our own infrastructure, our own hospitals, schools. And that's not me being racist. I genuinely feel we can bring all the refugees in, including the Ukrainian ones, but we need to start actually building infrastructure. Once Russia and Ukraine war finishes, Do they think living crisis in the UK will end? No, I generally don't. I think I've got a funny feeling that if we don't dig ourselves off this island soon, the world is starving because of these. Oh, of course, absolutely. The world has been starving because of illegal wars for years now. We could have cold fusion. The theoretical position of cold fusion is already there. The French already have a working model of cold fusion today. It's because of politics, oil. The planet is addicted to oil. This planet, the planet Earth, is absolutely addicted to oil. Not just in the West, but in China and other parts of the world as well. Absolutely. Alhamdulillah, sister, without a shadow of a doubt. May Allah have mercy on everyone. With no reservations. But we are in a general flexible position. The human race is in dire need of new direction. Cold fusion is power where it's general. Where fusion. You know what? I want to get this right, so I'm actually going to look it up. Give me a second, because I'll say something and then get it wrong when someone checks me. Cold fusion. Cold fusion is a hypothetical type of nuclear reaction that would occur at or near room temperature. It would contrast strictly to hot fusion that is known to take place naturally within stars and artificial hydrogen bombs and prototype fusion reactors. Now, the idea behind cold fusion is A, it takes up a lot less energy for construction and its ability, and B, cold fusion tends to be far more cleaner and far more healthier. I've tried to replicate the experiments with a few detectable availabilities. So there has been an attempt to create fusion. There's a French power plant that has attempted to do cold fusion on multiple occasions, but it's a low energy nuclear reaction, or a LEDNIR, or condensed matter nuclear science, or CMNSC. Oh, absolutely. I have every intentions to. What was that top question? I didn't see the top one there, sister. Ralph from Speaker's Corner, House of Commons, talks about white supremacy and how everything would be better if coloured coordinated orders. To be fair, I feel that we need to organise ourselves as a one race and stop worrying about skin colour. White people make up less than 10% of the human race. It's not that big in terms of once the Western from it. I apologise. Let me think from a historical point of view, sister. So, in the next 50 years, white supremacy and its ideological supporters will collapse because Western hegemonical power would have collapsed. It is only a buzzword because of Western hegemonical power, Western technological power. Does that make sense? White supremacy isn't so much a massive problem in more multicultural, multi-religious and multi-ethnical nations like Australia, New Zealand, Britain, France. In general, they're not a massive issue. I would definitely consider joining his stream. But the point about multi-ethnical capacities, when Western hegemony collapses, the idea behind white supremacy will absolutely fade with it, because they're linked in one. Whilst white man is currently still clinging on by his fingertips, the world superpower, collectively, and that doesn't just, I'm not saying America, France, Britain, Belgium, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, they are all effectively white man powers, and their rulers are old white men, like older than me. And when they collectively crumble, when that physical power structure crumbles, historically speaking, easily within the next 50 years, what you will see is a shift away from blaming white people directly for actions that I can't handle. I have no power over what Boris Johnson does. I want to remove Boris Johnson from like last year or the year before. I have campaigned, I've written emails, I have kicked off, I've spoken to friends and family. Most people, if we went to an election now, Boris Johnson would lose hands down, and everyone knows it. Absolutely everyone knows it. And the last general election made very clear of that. You know, the last council election, the last council election made very, very clear of how much Boris Johnson is absolutely despised outside of this country. It's to the point where our nation can't stand him in any way, shape or form. The man is a troglodyte and has always been a troglodyte. He's slimy, he's disciplinary, he disregards law and order. Absolutely, absolutely. Send money to the One Ummah charity, everyone. Whoever sees this video, my sister Halos has made an excellent suggestion. Please, if you're going to send money, please send it towards the one. What did you say, sister? Let me make sure I get the address correct. Send money to the One Ummah charity. All places around the Ummah require help. Absolutely do. And my previous rant in specifically mentioning helping sisters and brothers. If someone has a GoFundMe page, go and help them. Because giving charity is, by its very nature, a part of our deen. It is a part of what Allah says. If you can afford it, obviously, if you can afford it. I'm not talking about if you can't afford it. But if you can afford it, if you have financial capacity, send a link so people can join the conversation. I don't know how to send a link, sister. Share. Yeah, go to share, press copy link. How do I reply? I don't know how to reply. I'm still a little bit fiddly around this YouTube going live stuff. Oh, can I go black and white? I can go black and white. Oh, get in there. That's me fiddling around with the cameras a little bit. Pin it, inshallah, someone join. How do I pin it? Sister, how am I supposed to pin these things? Are you expecting some kind of understanding of technology from me? Honestly, people. Sister, I'm a bookworm. This is why I know this thing has no bloody citations, because I know how to look on this. This is my technology. This is how smart I am. Sorry to make everyone laugh, but this is my technology. This I know. This I understand. It's a book. Regime. I feel that people need to understand that the consequential capacities of what we do and what we learn. I don't fully understand technology to a degree. I'm glad I'm making everyone laugh. I think you go to YouTube Studio, check customization, and put the link on the pin. Ah, right. Well, that's something I can't do while I'm actually in a live. You know, I can't physically do that while I'm in a live, which is a bit on the irritating side. So, I mean, I understand books. Books are good. Books are easy. Books don't require any buttons or programming or settings. I was born in the wrong century. Let me be quite fair about that. I was definitely born in the wrong century. Probably make everyone laugh. Not many people actually make it to the end of these videos. Not many people make it to the end of these videos. When I do my lives, I am. No, of course. Alhamdulillah, I don't regret where I was born. I regret not coming. I hate being 16 in 2022. I don't agree with that, Zah. You're young. Stop worrying about tomorrow. What I wouldn't give to go back to school and not worry about bills or boring adult stuff. Go running around the playground kicking a ball again just because I can. I don't have to worry about anything else. Oh, Zas, I'm deadly serious. You do not want to grow up too fast. I am serious. You will regret it. You will miss your school days. Now listen to an old Aki. You will miss your school days. Enjoy them while you have them. Oh, this is true. This is true, sister. Alhamdulillah. I can't disagree with that. Can't miss something you were destined for. I'm serious, Zaz. You're 16. Enjoy your youth. When come 20, come around that corner, you'll be like, I want to go back to school. I promise you. And if you're lucky enough to go to university, you will cry for the school grounds. Ooh, the Balama Shaitani regime. They are brutal. Not got an assignment in on time, Mr. Lockwood. Oh, I hated that. Oh, oof. Bad days. Bad days. I can believe that. I can genuinely believe that. Well, this has been 40 minutes, and that's pretty close to my attention span. Workplace politics, not my fan. I'm not a fan of workplace politics. Oh, avoid them. Avoid them. They are fitna. Fitna. Run away. Yeah, no, technology learning dean spreading it makes schools go on trips to be online. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. No, workplace politics, I avoid it like a plague, like it's an infection, a disease. You just run from it. Anyway, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's been a lovely 40 minutes having you all on, and I appreciate everyone who came to my live. And I hope to be on tomorrow about the same time. I'm probably going to come on tomorrow about 5 o'clock, about 7 o'clock again. And I think I'm going to make a regular thing of coming on from 7, roughly 7 till 8, most weeks. And I need to build my hours up. So this is going to be one of those things. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's been a pleasure. Inshallah. Everyone have a lovely day.